The Yeti, this namesake of this mythical and elusive mountain creature, well, has always been kind of like a dark horse for the Škoda brand in India. But over the years, it has had its ups and downs. Well, now there's an all-new Yeti from Škoda, and we're here in the beautiful valley of Kashmir to find out how much of an improvement it is over the previous iteration. The Yeti gets its new makeover in line with Škoda's current design philosophy that you've seen on other premium Škoda cars like the Octavia and the Superb, which means that the gentle curves now make way for sharper lines, kind of like a crystalline design. The funky headlamp unit from the previous generation with a separate spotlight-like oval adaptive fog lights have been replaced by singular, more conventional bi-xenon units with the horizontal daytime running lights. Other changes akin to Škoda's current trend include the grille, the new logo and the hood design. The lower bumper design now looks more rugged, even as the bash plate that you see isn't really made of metal. That boxy rear gets Škoda's typical diagonal lines now to break the horizontal monotony. The taillight's design is the same C-shaped cluster, but it now gets LEDs. On the side profile, nothing much has changed save the contrasting roof, the beefed up wheel arches and the new alloys that differentiate between the 4x2 and the 4x4. Škoda's new design language permeates in the interior too, and some of it looks familiar. Take for instance the Superb-inspired 3-spoke leather steering wheel, or the Bolero infotainment system with Bluetooth connectivity that's reminiscent of the one on the Octavia. But Škoda, thankfully, have retained two massive positives from the older Yeti. One's an endless list of features. In fact, the Yeti now gets added features like cruise control, tire pressure monitor and a push start button like the one on the Superb. And secondly, the impressive build quality and finishing. Now, amongst the things that haven't changed is that the Yeti continues to be driven by the same 2-litre TDI diesel engine that you'd seen on the previous model as well. Once again in the same two states of tune, the 110 PS and the 140 PS. Now the 110 PS iteration drives the 2-wheel drive version while the 140 drives the 4-wheel drive. But Škoda have discontinued the base and the mid variant. They only offer both the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive in the Elegance version. The 2-litre TDI engine continues its steady relationship with two transmissions, a 5-speed manual for the 4x2 and a 6-speed manual for the 4x4. Now over the past year or so, we've got plenty of mails asking why the Yeti never got an automatic. Well, sorry fellas, but still no DSG automatic for you. You see, as Miroslav, Škoda's product manager, painfully explains, the costs don't justify the automatic option. But there you go, overall mechanically, the car remains completely unchanged. Well, almost. Now there is one thing that has been changed, or well rather modified in this 4-wheel drive system, and that is something that Škoda claim makes all the difference, and that is this new 5th generation Haldex clutch, which is responsible for engaging the rear axles. Now Škoda claim this has made the system a whole lot more efficient and smooth. Can you feel it when you're driving around? Not perceptibly. Oh well, Škoda, we'll take your word for it. The Yeti's always had a bit of a split personality on the road. It drove like a luxury sedan but had the off-roading credentials of a capable SUV. And that's something that hasn't really changed. And this transformation happens at the press of a button. The off-road button not only adjusts the various driver aids like ABS, anti-slip regulation, electronic differential locks, the hill hold and hill descent, but also adjust the throttle sensitivity. And for that very unfortunate circumstance that you do manage to lose control of the Yeti, it offers active safety in the form of 6 airbags, now standard. In terms of handling, the 4x2 feels lighter around corners and it's quite fun to drive, while the 4x4 being 100 kilos heavier feels it, but there's more grip. Both the variants can however show signs of understeer at times. The electromechanical power steering offers good feedback and is well weighted for both urban and highway driving. All in all then, the Yeti continues to be a capable and well-mannered car both on and off the road. Well, sure, the new Yeti is just as impressive as the previous version when it was launched, but just as Škoda have found out the hard way that having a good enough product in your portfolio isn't enough to woo the Indian customer, you also have to win them over with your after-sales experience. And that is an area that Škoda have found themselves lacking in the past. Well, I know that all of you have questions regarding this, for all the claims that they've been making in the past 1 year that they have improved. And I know just the man who's going to answer all your questions.
As I mentioned to you when we met a year or so ago, we are recognizing some of the brutal facts. Sorry for the management cliche, but we are recognizing those things and trying to improve them. I'm happy to let you know that in the last year we've made tremendous progress. Every customer-oriented parameter on the service side that we have looked at has improved by something like 30 to 50%. There are about 6 parameters that we monitor on a monthly basis. We've got a wonderful team that is really focused and passionate about changing not just the reality, but also the perception. We know the reality has already changed, but we know that we've got maybe a year or so to go before we can also make a dent on the perception. But we are determined to do it, and just like the fresh air around us, I think you will see a very fresh start to Škoda on the front of customer satisfaction.
Well, watching Jamshed drive through Gulmarg and Sorgmar takes me back home quite literally. Now, the Yeti's Achilles heel, besides the poor after-sales service that Škoda offers, has always been its price. With the entry-level SUV market becoming more accessible and Škoda putting out only the top-end variant of the Yeti into India, it's going to be imperative for the Czech car maker to get the pricing right. That could pretty much determine the fate of the abominable snowman in this market. But we will wait to find out.